From unbelievable catches that defy the laws of physics, to mind-boggling displays of athleticism, the cricket field is always full of surprises. So, in today's video, let's take a look at some of the most extraordinarily rare moments in cricket, which includes one of the most bizarre dismissals you will ever see. Starting off with the most nail-biting World Cup final ever. The World Cup finals are already a pretty big deal in every sport. But what happened in the final of the Cricket World Cup 2019 will be remembered for ages to come. New Zealand batted first and went on to score 241 runs, and in reply to that, England got off to a good start. But the match eventually went down to the last few overs. Tensions were definitely rising as Ben Stokes was fighting to bring home the cup. When England required 22 off 9, Stokes hit Neesham down the ground and Bolt took the catch, shortly before stepping on the boundary and giving the English side a 6. And if that wasn't enough bad luck for the Kiwis, in the final over something even more bizarre took place. When it was down to the wire in the final over and England needed 15 from 4, Stokes smashed the ball for a 6. And on the very next ball, he ran to take a double, but as he was diving his way back to the crease, his bat hit the ball and it went for a 4. No one could believe what they had just seen. Even Stokes himself was in utter shock as his side was just given 6 runs at a crucial stage. Eventually the game was tied and this called for a super over, and that too in a World Cup final. Now, the super over was just as exciting as the main match. You see, England scored 15 runs and New Zealand needed 16 runs to win, but Martin Guptill was run out on the final ball, meaning England won the match on the boundary count back rule, and this resulted in Owen Morgan lifting the World Cup for England, which surely got people thinking. Is Ben Stokes really the greatest British sportsman? During the 2023 Ashes series, in the second test at Lord's, England were in trouble chasing 371 runs to win. In fact, almost half of their players were already out, and they only had 177 runs on the scoreboard. But Stokes, being the team's captain, gave a performance that will forever be remembered. As England lost their 6th wicket, he made 93 runs in only 86 balls, while putting up a 108-run partnership with Stuart Broad. That means he went on to smash a total of 9 sixes throughout the match, setting a brand new Ashes Test record. Those balls flew through the air like blazing missiles, hitting both the mound and tavern stands at the famous Lord's Cricket Ground. Still, despite Stokes' incredible performance, the match ultimately ended in disappointment for England. They came super close to another miraculous victory, but fell short in the end. But it's nowhere near the time when a massive swarm of bees halted a game in Ireland. Can you imagine the sight? Cricket players taking cover from a bee invasion. Because that's exactly what happened during a perfectly sunny day in Cork, Ireland, where a match was underway. Even the commentators couldn't believe their eyes. Without a moment's hesitation, everyone dropped to the ground, seeking refuge from the winged invaders. And as it turns out, these adventurous bees had initially decided to set up camp on a fence near the pavilion. But thankfully, a local beekeeper came to the rescue. Luckily, the beekeeper managed to locate the queen bee, patiently waited for her loyal subjects to follow, and safely relocated the entire swarm. Moving on to the scoring mistake. In a T20I match between New Zealand and Bangladesh at McLean Park, New Zealand played first, but due to rain, the first inning had to stop after 17.5 overs. The Black Caps were on 173 to 5, and as the Bangladesh team came up to bat, they weren't entirely sure about the target they needed to chase. The game was stopped after 9 balls because of a major mix-up. The target was initially set to 170, although the Bangladesh team thought it to be 148. Finally, after a bit of chaos, it was revised once again, this time to 171 after 13 overs. It definitely doesn't happen very often that the batting team doesn't know what the target is, but apparently it only happened due to some technical glitch. Next, let's not forget Chris Lynn's breathtaking catch in IPL 2014. The match was set between the Kolkata Knight Riders and Royal Challengers Bangalore. KKR had a set target of 151 runs, and RCB found themselves just needing 6 runs off the final 3 balls. In the blink of an eye, it all came down to the batsman A.B. de Villiers, known for his ability to finish games with finesse. He stood at the crease, determined to seal the victory for RCB. But fate had something else in store for him. As the ball was delivered, De Villiers unleashed the shot, hoping to clear the boundary and secure the win with 2 balls to spare. But Chris Lynn, a fielder of KKR, was stationed near the boundary line and had slipped just a few moments before the catch opportunity presented itself. And somehow, defying gravity and physics, he managed to regain his footing in an instant. With super fast reflexes, he lunged backwards, fully stretched, and snatched the ball with one hand. But that wasn't all. As he soared through the air, he made sure to keep himself in play, so that he didn't make contact with the boundary line. Lynn's catch had completely turned the game on its head, and RCB ended up losing the game by just 2 runs. Coming up is the catch that had everyone talking. Jordan Silk, the batsman, was determined to clear the long-off boundary with a powerful shot, and as the ball soared towards the boundary line, Michael Nesser, the fielder, managed to get his hands on the ball. But he realised that he was dangerously close to crossing over the boundary rope, and in a split second, he tossed the ball up while still outside the boundary line. Now, you might think that the ball would have dropped to the ground, right? Well, not with Nesser's incredible timing and coordination. He timed his jump to perfection and palmed the ball back inside the boundary without letting it touch the ground. What was surprising was that even after all that jaw-dropping action, players, commentators and fans were left wondering, was it a fair catch? Replays were reviewed, scrutinised, and finally, the umpires declared it as a fair catch. Up next, Chandimal's deadly sixer. You'd think a swing of the bat would send a ball flying and landing in the crowd, or hitting a vehicle outside the stadium. But it seems as if Dinesh Chandimal, the Sri Lankan batsman, had channeled a different kind of power that day. During a test match between Sri Lanka and Australia, Chandimal sent the ball flying so hard that it ended up striking a boy who happened to be walking on the road nearby. Thankfully, the ball bounced off him, and he wasn't seriously injured. What about the time Henry Nicholls got out in a bizarre fashion? Henry Nicholls, a bowler from New Zealand, got out in what might have been the strangest way possible on day 1 of the 3rd and final test against England at Headingley in Leeds. It all happened when English spinner Jack Leach bowled the second ball of the 56th over of the Black Caps' first innings. The left-handed bowler went for a full delivery, and Nicholls came down the track to hit it wide of the bowler. At first, it looked like the ball would go all the way to the boundary, but no one would have guessed what would happen next. Nicholls' drive came right out of the sweet spot, and Daryl Mitchell, who was at the non-striker's end, didn't have enough time to move out of the way. The ball struck Mitchell's bat as he was trying to move it out of the way. It ricocheted off the bat, flew over umpire Richard Kettleborough, and landed right in Alex Leeser's hands at mid-off. No one seemed to know what was going on. Nasser Hussain, who was live on commentary, also couldn't believe it and said, "How has it gotten there? This must be one of the most bizarre wickets in cricket history." Moving on, we've got Shahid Boom Boom Afridi. We all know that spin bowlers generally don't bowl as fast as the pace bowlers. They usually hover around 90 km per hour. But in a T20 match between Pakistan and New Zealand, Shahid Afridi defied all expectations. He unleashed a delivery that fired out his fingers at a jaw-dropping speed of 134 km per hour. With a single swift motion, Afridi sent the ball hurtling towards Tim Southey. The sheer speed and spin of the delivery left him bewildered, and before he could react, the ball crashed into his stumps. Clean bowled. Afridi's record-breaking ball had done the impossible, making its way to the fastest ever recorded delivery made by a spinner in international cricket. Last but not least, let's talk about the time a bouncer gets stuck in an England batter's helmet. Caught in the grill seems like the perfect phrase to describe what happened during the 3rd T20I between Pakistan and England in Karachi. England's Harry Brook was in fine form with the bat, but he was struck on the helmet by a fierce bouncer from Pakistani pacer Haris Rauf. The delivery was lightning fast, and it got caught in Brooks' helmet grill. Without a moment's hesitation, Rauf rushed over to Brook and wrapped his arms around him. With that kind act, he showed that he cared about his competitor's well-being, which brought a smile to Brooks' face. Well, that's all for today, guys. Which one of these moments shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. Thanks for watching.